Right, so today I have a very quick review on a ARMSCOR M100 38 Special revolver. So just quickly, just to check, nothing in there, all clear. Alright, so I bought this revolver because I've always wanted one, and I wanted to use it at the range, and but they're known to be very accurate, and once you start shooting pistols, well, should I say, once I started shooting pistols, I've always wanted a revolver. So this was such a good deal, I couldn't pass it up. A friend of mine had one very similar to this, and he had no issues with it whatsoever. And so when the opportunity arose, I thought, well, I'll put some money in and get one. So I couldn't find very much information on this revolver online, but I did a little bit of digging, and I found a little bit of information about this particular pistol. So the ARMSCOR company that manufactures this is out of the Philippines. ARMSCOR started out in 1905 under the name Squires Bingham. Long story short, they changed hands a couple of times, and in the 1960s it was handed down to the sons of a gentleman by the name of Kelso, and the company is still owned by the family today. So not an awful lot of information, but what I do know is this particular pistol or revolver is quite old. So just a little bit about it. It is an ARMSCOR M100 6-inch barrel, 38 special, so it doesn't handle any of the 357 Magnum rounds. It was manufactured between 1971 and July 1987, so definitely an older pistol. It's based on a Colt Python from what I understand. It has double action lockwork, has a hammer mounted firing pin, and the mainspring is a folded leaf back here in the handle. As you can see from this, it's not a traditional grip on here. I changed out the original grips that were on here. I went looking for them this morning, but for the life of me I can't find them. But anyway, these grips are far more comfortable than the other ones. What I did have to do is a bit of work on actually getting these to fit. Unfortunately, and you will see, I have a whole lot of silicone here in the back to actually smooth this out. Now, it doesn't look very nice, but it shoots really comfortably. The original grips are quite small, so when I took them off, I thought that the Colt Python Hogue grip that this is would fit perfectly onto the revolver. Unfortunately, not the case, and it was actually rattling. It was quite loose on there, hence the reason for the silicone that I've got over here. So anyway, that's been changed. It's far more comfortable now, I must admit, but it doesn't look that nice. I'll have to do some work on getting that cleaned up a little bit nicely. So anyway, the bluing on this revolver is actually really nice. Considering the age of it, it's quite decent. Few scratches here and there, but nothing that actually affects the functioning of the revolver at all. The hammer, I must say, on this is quite positive. So obviously, if you push forward over here, one of the checks you want to do to see that no one's messed around with your trigger. The trigger on this is heavier than a Smith & Wesson 686. In double action, actually it's not too bad, but the single action does have quite a bit more than your 686. The reason I'm talking about the 686, it's the only other revolver that I've shot recently, so I can compare those two to each other. So a little bit more about this one. So it has a adjustable, fully adjustable rear sight. So the rear sights on these are adjustable for windage and elevation on the rear. The front is a blade sight. As you can see, I've put some white paint on the end there, just so that it's a little bit easier to pick up when you're shooting. And I have to admit though, side by side with a 686, this does not shoot as accurately as a 686 will. Much newer revolver, that I have to admit. But for what I paid, for this revolver, which is not a lot of money. I bought it secondhand naturally, but comparing that to a new one, I probably could have bought 4 of these for the price of one new 686. So, you know, based on that, I cannot say that this shoots 4 times worse, because it doesn't. It's pretty close. So again, value for money, pretty damn good. So for me, I have found everything on the revolver itself nice and tight. It locks up nicely. There is a slight gap here between the cylinder and the actual barrel itself. Very small, but if you put it up to the light, you can see a bit of light through there. So again, as with any revolver, just make sure your fingers are not forward of this chamber. There's a few YouTube videos out there about what happens if you do that, so yeah, be careful of that. What else can I say? It's an old revolver. It shoots really well. Robust as anything, I have to admit. And as far as accuracy goes, at 25 yards off a bench, it'll shoot 2-inch groups with 5 shots, and I'm quite happy with that. The reason I did get this initially was to use it for service pistol and to be able to shoot it out to 50 yards. The problem I've come across, as soon as I put these grips on, I can't use the speed loaders, because the speed loaders actually hook here on the back, and this is just a little bit too wide. So I'm trying to decide whether I find another set of grips or grind this down so the speed loaders will actually fit in here and not bump into that area there. But anyway, other than that, very short review on a ARMSCOR M100 out of the Philippines. You know what? If you can see one online, or you can get your hands on one, you'd be hard pressed not to actually get one. They are very well made. The metalwork, from what I've used of it, I've put several hundred rounds through this already, factory loads, and I've had no problem with it whatsoever. So yeah, if you have an opportunity to get one, I'd suggest you grab it. Great little revolver this. Alright, so thanks, enjoy.